Funding for this program provided in part by the Sanibel Captiva Chamber of Commerce and by the South Seas Plantation.
I don't think my legs are too light. Bob Fagan, welcome to Painting on Location. As you can see, it's another beautiful day here in Captiva, Sanibel. The crew, right now I'm waiting on a crew to come by and pick me up. We're going to go out and throw paint at something, and I have no idea where we're going, so stick around and see what happens. Well, as you can see, I found a mighty pretty little spot here to set up on the beach. We've got all kinds of stuff going on all up and down the beach here. We've got water, we've got people, we've got kayaks, we've got birds, we've got Bob, we got everybody. What I did was I took photographs of people bending down, picking up shells and walking on the beach and stuff like that. Because I'm not going to be able to get anybody to stand still for me. So I took photographs and had them developed. And that's kind of what I'm using for reference here. Now, this was taken at a different time of the day, but I have different people bending down and walking and birds and stuff like that. So there's just, I'm going to be using those for reference. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting the sky in. Now, there's a bunch of stuff here in my palette left over from last time. Kind of mix that all together. Clean some of that up, and then I'm going to put a little bit more blue in there. Some of that yellow. Going to make one sweep across there. Now I'm going to make that a little bit lighter as it comes down towards the horizon there. So I'll add more water. Just kind of let that flow in there like that. A little bit more just plain water. All the way down to here. I also wanted to mention that some of these people are wearing white. So what I've done is, and I've done this in some of the other shows, I use some of this mascoid stuff. It's like liquid rubber cement, and I just dip my brush down in there and put it on where I wanted everything to be white. So that whenever I start painting, I can paint just right over the top of that white area and I won't have to worry about it. And then when that's dry, I can come back and rub that off, and that white, it'll show up white for me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start working on some of the sand. I want kind of a gray pinkish wash. I add a little bit of red. And I'll start down here at the bottom, because I want my light source out here. Put a little bit of color in that beach there. A little bit more red. I'll be going back in here several times. I can just paint right over those people. Just real soupy wash right there. All right, I think what I'm going to do is take this off the easel so I can kind of control where that wash is running. Kind of take it and tilt it around like that so it doesn't all run in one spot where you don't want it to. All right, I'm back, and this is all pretty well dry right now. I'm going to do something a little different I normally don't do. I want to make a fairly straight line across here for that water. So rather than use a straight edge, I'm going to use some masking tape. And you can use masking tape to make straight lines or to mask things out. So I'm going to put a piece right across here. As you can see, this masking tape has gotten a little dirty in my bag there. It's got sand in it, and who knows what all's in there, but I think it'll work okay. So I'm going to lay that right on there. Kind of press it down so no paint will get underneath that. So I want to make a nice straight line there this morning. All right, I'm going to get into some of that water, some of the color of the water over there. Now that's kind of probably some of this phthalo blue here, and I'll add a little bit of phthalo green to that. Now I've got that pressed down on there real nice, so I can just make a straight line like this. Sometimes you get those little drips too. Hopefully that won't matter. That's what happens when the wind blows. All right. Back into some phthalo blue here. Let's bring that all the way down. Got another one. Just paint right over those people. Back into here. Thin it out with some water. Starting to get some sun now, so we'll really be able to see a lot of shadows and stuff like that. All right. Go ahead and pull this masking tape off now. See what I got. And I got a fairly straight line. All right. Now while all this is drying, I'm going to get over here and put in some of these trees. Get into some yellow. Kind of mix it in with that blue. The wind is really blowing where I am right now, so it's kind of throwing paint everywhere. Let's start off with that. Right back in here in the distance. Do a little bit of dry brush. Whoops, got the paint around my umbrella. Up in here, a little burnt sienna. See, I'm kind of painting around that umbrella there too. I think while I've got that color, I'm going to put some of that on the beach. It's where the high tide comes in. Got a bigger brush here. If I can put some more stuff on the beach, maybe I can cover up those stains there. All right, I'm going to let all this dry so I can come back in and start working on those people. So I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Hey, Bob.
Hi.
Welcome to the
Nice to
museum.
meet you. How you
To
doing?
show you some of our exhibits here.
All right.
Well, a shell is formed by a living organism. Many people who come here actually through the museum don't realize that. So I think that one of the purposes of our educational programs and exhibits here is to let them know that shells are made by animals. and shells grow as the animal inside it grows. I want to show you some of our exhibits here in the Great Hall of Shells. And the first one you see here is about Sanibel and Captiva and their shells. Here are some of the nicest species you'll find on the beach, if you get lucky enough.
Yeah.
Here we show diversity in one group of shells, scallops.
Look at the color on that.
You
That is
see all the
amazing.
different shapes and patterns that that particular group of shells exhibit. Shells have had, throughout history, they played a very important role in arts and culture. And you see shells, you find shells from the earliest inception of human culture. So here you have some examples and some samples of use of shells by native peoples.
I can understand it. They're very colorful.
Yes, some of them are very colorful and they make very nice ornaments. I don't know if you heard of sailors' valentines, but they were small pieces of craft made by sailors' wives while sailors were out in the sea. And they waited patiently for the husbands to come back home, preparing those gifts to be given when they returned
those
back.
are beautiful. Those are beautiful. It's just incredible, the color. It took a lot of patience to do that, too.
Yes, a lot of time.
Yeah.
Well, we are lucky here in having a different orientation of the coastline. If you look closely, in a map of Florida, the coast goes normally from north to south. And here in Sanibel, we have a break in that pattern. We have the coastline going from west to east. And that acts as a trap for seashells during the big winter storms we have here. That's basically one of the reasons why we have so many shells on the beach here. If you walk on the beach here in a winter afternoon after a big storm, weather is clearing, you see a lot of people on the beach doing the famous Sanibel Stoop. And the Sanibel Stoop is just bending and reaching for shells on the sand. And that's the position you see most people practicing. And it's almost like everyone on the beach is doing the Sanibel Stoop after a big winter storm.
And a really nice place you have here.
Oh, thank you very much.
You know, I think I'm getting shell-shocked.
I hope you are.
All right, I'm back, and I've let all this dry. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and start painting these people. I'm going to rub this white off here. See if I got any white. Got a little bit. Some over here. Just kind of rub it off with your finger. That's pretty well it. All right, let's see. I'll just get into some blues here. Start painting the shadowed side, which is back over here. Try to save some of that white there. And let's see, this one's yellow. Let's make this yellow. And some blue. This is going to be fairly dark in here. There's some clean yellow. Making the shape of the body, just kind of, it doesn't have to be exact, just big shapes. This guy over here has got on a white t-shirt. And let's put a white t-shirt over here too. Kind of painting the shadowed side first. All right. Now I'm going to get into some skin color here. This is burnt sienna. Some alizarin crimson in that. These people, most of them have suntans. Let's go ahead and paint that. Some yellow in there. Back over here. Doesn't matter if that mixes together either. Back in here. Arms showing over here. And they're holding hands. And she's got an arm coming down here. See how that shape starts to take effect, starts to come together? Very simple shapes. Same over here. Some red in with that. Some yellow. A lot of warm colors. Here. Got on a pair of brown khaki pants, it looks like. Once in a while you can look up and see somebody walking and kind of get where the sun direction's coming from and all that. Let's kind of make that shape. And then there's little tiny ones way off in the distance. I think I'll put those in later because I don't want to touch this area and get paint all over everywhere. All right, I'm going to put some color on this umbrella over here now. There, there. Doesn't have to be perfect. And back behind. The wind's kind of blowing, so I can make that one a little wavy. All right, I'm going to get a smaller brush and paint these chairs. Kind of give the symbol. There. I'm going to put a few more shadows on her. Maybe a little more blue in there. Really want to show where the sun's coming from at this point. And I'll make this leg a little bit darker over here. It's in the shade. Like that. And his leg over here is in the shade. Make it darker. So's this arm over here. All right, now I need to add these shadows, and that's what's going to kind of put them down on the ground. All right, I'm looking up trying to check what color the shadows are. I'm looking for a shadow someplace. So they're kind of blue. Maybe I'll put a little red in there. All right, sun's over here, so I want to kind of overemphasize those shadows just a little bit. In fact, that needs to be a little bit darker. back under here. Here. Something kind of like that, just enough to show the shadow part. All right. There's some. Let me go back to the people again. Here's there she is there, except it's a boy now. There's this guy here. Actually, this is the cameraman, director, Jeff. He posed for me the other day. And there's those two people. Got to change them around a little bit. See if I can make some of those white caps. I like making waves, you know. I think everybody should make waves. So you kind of paint back in there with the same color and you get a lighter color. Get some shaky lines like that. And back up here. See if I can paint around this guy right here. Make that shirt just a little bit whiter. See how that makes that look a little whiter? It doesn't have to look exactly like that over there. You just kind of want to give the impression of water. Back around this guy. All right, use some of that same stuff down here on the beach. Whenever the tide comes in, it brings all this stuff. Seaweed and grass and twigs and all kinds of stuff. Palm leaves and shells. I can do a little splattering on here without getting it where I don't want it. The wind's blowing this direction, so those people over there, they'll go home tonight and they'll have all these little spots all over them. So. Just more dry brush. All right. Now some clouds. Even though there's no clouds here now, I want to go ahead and put some in. I'll just start right in here. A few of them in here. Kind of thin that out with some water. Trying to make it a little bit more interesting sky. A little bit of brown in there. Warm it up a little bit. Well, I think I'm pretty well done. Except for my two little streaks that I got when we first started painting. The reason that happened was the wind was blowing and I loaded my brush up with too much paint, so it kind of dripped. But doesn't bother me. It's just a sketch anyway. I can always say I did it that way on purpose, you know. We've had a lot of fun shooting on Sanibel Captiva. This is the last show of the series, and if you ever get a chance, come on down here and take a look. You don't have to paint. Just come down here and hang out on the beach, collect shells, read a book, just walk around and enjoy it. So we're on to the new series, wherever that might be, and so if I see you out there painting, I'll stop up and say hi, and you do the same. So until I see you again, I'm Bob Fagan, and this is Painting on Location.
This program is available on video for just $17.95 or $179.95 for the whole 13-part Sanibel Captiva series. Also, Bob has produced 3 one-hour instructional videos on the art of watercolor painting. Each one is available for $19.95 or $36.95 for your choice of 2, or all 3 for $54.95. Call 1-800-353-2232 to order.
Well, we're on our way out of Sanibel, heading back up north where the cold weather is. We had a great time while we were here. But I think everybody's ready to go home, you know? There's no place like home, so clicking our heels together, there's no place like home. Pretty spot here, though.